Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look on how to create this. Alright, so before we get into this tutorial, I will thank all my members. You can see them on the screen right here. They make all these videos possible. So if you want to become a member, just click the join button down below. And one more thing I want to mention is that I am not a motion designer, so this intro is very simple and nothing extreme and crazy. I have also gotten some inspiration from these tutorials right here for making this intro, and yeah, I have also spent a lot of time making this intro and the tutorial itself. So if this video gets 1200 likes, I will release a template for this. Let's take a look on how to create this intro, shall we? Alright, so let's take a look on how to create that intro. First of all, we're going to create a new composition. So just click on new composition. I'm going to make mine 1920 by 1080, having the frame rate on 60, but you can choose 30 or whatever you want. I'm just going to leave the duration on 10 seconds and the background color on black. It doesn't really matter. Press OK. First off, we're going to start by adding our text. So grab our text tool on top right here. Just type out the name or whatever you want. I'm just going to type out name. I'm using the font Avengence Mighty Avenger. And you can change that here if you want. If you can't see this character option, just go to window and locate character. Oh, now I removed it. Yes, character right here. Now, next step is to align it to the middle. So just go to align, and if you can't find that, just go to window and locate it. So let's align it to the vertical center and the horizontal center. Perfect. I'm going to leave the color at blue. We can change that later. But the next step is to right click on the name layer right here, and we're just going to create a shape from the text. So create shapes from text. Drag this below our first layer and then make the first layer visible again. Click on this arrow right here to see some more options. I'm going to go to contents. I'm going to add a group. We're going to select all these letters right here and drag them into the group. And if we select the group again, we're going to add a stroke. Go into stroke 1. I'm leaving the color at white. I'm going to increase the stroke width to a value that we like. I think 25 looks good. Now we want to duplicate this group right here. So just press Ctrl and D and move this new group below the first one. So click down. Now we want to add a repeater. So go into repeater 1, transform repeater 1, and we want to set the scale to 99.6. The position on the x-axis should be 0, and on the y-axis, which is the second value, should be 2. Before we do anything else, we want to change the stroke on this second group right here. So just go to stroke again. We just change the color to a darker white, just like so. We close that, and on the repeater 1, we want to add how many copies we want. So let's see, about 20, 25 looks good. I think 23. And now we get this 3D effect. But I think I want to mess around with the anchor point to have it more in the middle of the text. Kinda like so looks good. So now we have this like 3D look. Then I think I want to add a gradient. So just go to effects and presets. Search up I can't type gradient. And drag the gradient ramp onto the text. I want the first color to be a nice orange yellow color, and the second color should be more of a pinkish purple color. So So as you can see, we have these 2 points right here. If we move the closer, we see the first color come closer. I'm going to pull the second color closer as well. Something like that looks good. Now we want to add a little bit of a layer style to the first text. So this first text we have wrote here. Right click, I'm going to go to layer styles and then inner shadow. Go to inner shadow down here as well. And we want to set the angle to -90 degrees. The choke should be on 100% and the size at 0. We can play with the distance to get this kind of effect. I want to change the color to more of a dark pinkish purple color. And the blending mode should be on multiply. Perfect. I just think I want to change the stroke color to be a little more grayish. There we go. Perfect. So now we're done with the text. Then we can select both layers and pre-compose it. This will make it 1. So next up, I think I want to animate the text. So we want to press S on our keyboard to bring up the scale properties. And now we want to create the first keyframe. So just click on the stopwatch right here to make a keyframe. Set the value to 0 at 0 seconds. So the second value comes in about a second and it should be 110%. Move forward just a little bit and the second value should be back to 100%. And now we have this animation going on. Looks good. It looks a little bit stiff, and so what we can do is select all the keyframes and press F9 on the keyboard to ease. This will smoothen out the keyframes and the animation, of course. Let's take a look. Perfect. But I just think that animation is still a little bit boring, so what we can do is go into the graph editor right here. Make sure you use right click and select speed graph. Select the first point and drag this yellow point right here towards the middle just a little bit, and do the same with the second point. Let's take a look at our animation now. Perfect. Right, so what we can do now is add a little bit of motion blur. So click on this 3 circle right here in this box right here, and then to activate it, click on the 3 circles on top. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. And if you can see the blur tool, this box right here, click on toggle switches and modes to toggle between them. So next up, I think I want to add a little bit of a rotation to our text. So just press R on the keyboard to bring up the rotation properties. And at 0 seconds, make a keyframe for rotation. Then we can press U on our text layer to see all the keyframes we made. Move forward to about where the scale animation's second keyframe is, so about right here, and put the value of the rotation at 1. So now the text have rotated 360 degrees basically. Select both keyframes and F9 to ease these. Let's take a look. Alright, so that looks really good. Perfect. So now I want to work on the background, and I have a little screenshot right here for reference for the colors. And let's start off by making a new solid layer. So right click on this gray area right here and click new and then solid. Just pick a nice pinkish color and drag it below the text. And right now I feel I want to add a little bit of a drop shadow on the text. So because we made this a pre-composition, we can double click on it. We can edit the text by itself. And because it's a pre-composition, whatever we edit right here will be affected in the main composition. So we're going to add a drop shadow for the name outlines or the 3D part. So right click, lay styles and drop shadow. We can toggle the transparency mode right here. And let's mess with the drop shadow. 90 degrees, we can increase the size just a little bit. And the distance. And decrease the opacity to about around 40%. Let's take a look on the main composition. That looks pretty okay. So now I want to create that like a moving background. So click on our rectangle shape tool right here. And if you see a different shape, just hold down and left click and you can change between these shapes. So the rectangle tool is what we're going to use now. You can zoom out and we're just going to drag out a simple shape just like so. And you can see we're going to deselect the stroke, so just put it to none. And we're going to add a fill color. Perfect, a little bit darker or a little bit lighter than the background color. So perfect, now we have the first step of our background. Let's make it a bit longer. Now I want to rotate this shape right here. So just press R on our keyboard and rotate it about this much. I think about the same angle as the text looks good. Now I want to drop down again so we see the contents and you just want to add a repeater. So go into repeater 1 and we want to increase the number of copies so by quite a lot so it covers the whole canvas. Let's increase the copies to about 32 just for a good measure. Now let's go down to transform repeater 1 and we want to increase the position so we can see some gaps between the shapes. Kind of like so, perfect. And now we want to animate moving from one side to another. So we can close down on repeater 1 and we're just going to go to transform the whole layer. So just transform right here. At 0 seconds, make a keyframe for position. Move forward to about 5 seconds to move the position value down. Add some. So let's see how it looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think we can increase the speed just a little bit. So go to keyframe and just decrease the value even more. I think that looks good. So now we have a moving background just like so. So now I want the background to be revealed with the text. So what we can do is select the two layers that we use for the background, right click and pre-compose. Let's make a new circle shape. So just change it to the ellipse tool, press down shift and we want to make a nice big circle just like so. Align it to the middle and make sure the anchor point that we see right here is in the middle of the shape. Just like so. We can move this below the text. We can also name this text and we can name the other pre-composition background. So this circle shape right here, basically I want the background that we just made to only be seen in the circle. So if we toggle the switches down here and make the background layer a track matte to the shape, just go to track matte and make it an alpha matte shape layer 1. So as you can see, the background that we just made is only visible in the shape. So let's animate this new shape. So press S on the shape layer to bring up the scale properties at 0 seconds. Put the value to 0. Move forward to when the scale animation finishes the first time for the scale, about right here, and bring up the scale value of the shape that we just did so it covers the whole image, just like so. We can select both keyframes and then F9 to ease this. Let's see how it looks. I think I want to go to the graph editor to make it a little more nimble and agile, so just drag these points a little bit closer to the middle. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. So this will be the beginning of the intro. So my thought process was right here, with the transparent background will be like the intro for the video. The music will start and this will cover the image and reveal the intro. So now I want to create a circle burst to really emphasize this like scale up then scale down of the text. Right there. So what we're going to do is go to our ellipse tool again. We want to take away the fill, so just put it to none. Let's make a stroke. And I want the color to be like a lighter pink. Kind of like so. Just shift and drag out a nice circle just like so. I think I want to increase the stroke just a little bit. Then we're going to go to contents, then ellipse 1. Then we can remove the fill because we're only using the stroke in this case. Go down on stroke 1 and then transform ellipse 1. So first we want to animate the scale from 0 to, just move forward just a little bit and put the value back to 100. So now we have this just really easy scale up of the stroke circle. And now we want to animate the stroke width. So at the beginning where the first keyframe starts, make a keyframe for the stroke width on stroke 1 then. Press U on our shape, press U on our layer to only see the keyframes. This makes it a little bit easier. Move forward to the next keyframe that we made for scale and bring the stroke width back to 0. We can select all keyframes and now we have something that looks like this. Just like so. But I said I want to make a circle burst with a bunch of small circles. So we can go down again to contents, ellipse 1 and then stroke 1. And we can see we have dashes right here and with the plus. So you're going to press this plus 2 times. So 1, 2. Then we want to put the line cap to round cap to make it a bunch of small circles. You could also put it at butt cap, it's all up to you. But round cap if you want circles and butt cap if you want these kind of lines. But I'm going to use a round cap. I'm going to decrease the dashes to 0. And I'm going to increase the gap to around 50 in this case. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, perfect, looks really cool. So boom, like a small explosion of a bunch of small circles. Now I just want to make sure that the anchor point is in the middle. No, it is not. So it's going to drag the anchor point in the middle of the circle. Press S on our keyboard and then just to scale it up just a little bit. Kind of like so. And then use the V on the keyboard and just position it in the middle. Put it behind the text and we have a nice explosion just like so. Perfect. I think I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Perfect. So if we press U on this circle burst right here and U on the text, we can see all the keyframes. So I want to match this circle burst width is like bounds of the text. So I'm just going to move this layer closer, just match the timing. Let's see how it looks. A little bit before. There we go. Nice quick circle burst. You can also increase the size even more if you want. And just a heads up to some of you, I've come to the point in the process where we have a lot of animation going on, and that might result in some bit of lagging when we preview the text. But After Effects, like most of the Adobe programs, use a lot of RAM, and the more animation and more layers you have, the more power your computer will have to use. So if you have a bit of a crappy PC, just preview the animation a couple of times till this bar is green. So now we want to create another like circle animation, and the outcome will be pretty similar to the one we did, but the technique is a little bit different, and that will affect the outcome. So just not a huge difference in style, but a different technique. So you might learn something new. So we're going to grab our ellipse tool again. We're going to remove the stroke. We're going to add a fill. Now I want the fill color to be a nice orange. I'm just going to make a nice circle just like so. Make sure the anchor point is in the middle of the... So right, so we're going to go to Contents, Ellipse, and transform ellipse 1. Make a keyframe for the scale. Put the scale value to 0. Move forward about a second, half a second, and put the value back at 100%. And so we get this like scale up. Perfect. We're going to duplicate this ellipse 1 by pressing Ctrl and D. And just press U so we see all our keyframes. And we want to offset the keyframes for the ellipse 1. So move these a little bit ahead of time. We can also select all keyframes and press F9 to easy ease. So now we're going to click on add. We're going to add a merge path. Make sure it's in the middle just like so. Drop down. We're going to make the mode subtract. So let's go back to full view. Let's see how it looks. That is wonderful. Press U so we can see all the keyframes, and I want to move the keyframes a little bit closer to each other. The animation is a bit faster. We could also add a little bit of a graph to it. Just click the graph editor, right into the middle, both of the dots, just like so. So let's see how it looks. Perfect. So now I just want to position the first animation about right here. I'm going to control and D to make a duplicate of this layer, and I want to put it behind the text and move it to about right here. We can also press S and increase the shape to get some difference between them. We can also move this a little bit ahead of time to get some delay between them, and let's see how it looks. That looks perfect. And I just want to move them a little bit closer in time. So right when this animation finishes, boom, right here, I want the first shape to start right here. Just move them closer. And the second one that we have right here, move that closer as well. Let's see how it looks. Awesome. Now I want to add a little bit of a text that comes up right here. It could be like a punchline, a slogan, a website, I don't know, whatever you want. So just press the text tool again, and using the same font as before, but I want to decrease the sizes a little bit. I'm going to type out enjoy the video. I of course want to make this the color white. Align it to the middle. Make it smaller, I think. Just like that. Just align it again. Drag it down to about right here. Perfect. I also want to add just a little bit of a drop shadow. So just right click, layer styles, drop shadow, and just increase the size and the distance and decrease the opacity. Perfect. Let's see what we have right now. So when these two circles finishes about right here, I want to start to animate the reveal of the text. So just drop down. We want to animate the scale, and we're just going to put the scale that comes up right here to 0. Go down to the range selector, advanced, put the shape to ramp up. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is animate this ramp up. So if you just head up to the start and then offset, we want to animate offset. So let's make a keyframe for offset, and at the start let's make the value -100. Move forward till we want the animation to finish. But right here looks good. We want to set the value back to 100. And let's take a look at. Yep, real nice. So what we can do as well, if you scroll down, go to ease high and ease low. Set the ease high to 100, the ease low to 50. Then just select both keyframes and press F9 to ease. Let's play it back. Okay, you can see that's way too fast. So what we can do is separate the finishing keyframe a little bit to the right. Let's see how it looks. That's more like it. So let's check out what we have so far. Perfect. I think now it's the time to bring in the music that we're gonna use. I'm gonna use the song Control Z by, let's see, who's it from? Halvorsen. Okay, so just bring that into our composition. Bring it down to a timeline below everything. And make sure you have this audio, include audio in the preview, so that we can hear the music. We can bring down this so you can see the waveform. And we're just going to scroll till we find drop. Alright, so about right here it's a drop. We want to put it at the beginning. And let's see how it looks with the beat. Okay, as you can hear and see, the text doesn't really fit the beat of the music. So I'm just going to go to our text. So go to our text layer, we're going to press S, and we want to animate a little scale up and scale down. So let's make a keyframe for the scale. It's 100%. Move forward just a couple of frames. Put the value to 110. And then move forward a couple of seconds on keyframes and put the value back to 100. Now we got a little bit of a bounce. Like so, we can separate the keyframes to make it a little bit smoother. And I think I want to time this animation with the beat of the music. So I'm just going to do that right now. It's pretty much self-explanatory, just take your time with it. Just like so. I think I want to do one more animation of the main text before the intro finishes. So let's move forward to the next beat hit. So I think it's about right here for me. And we want to make the text composition a 3D layer. So we just want to toggle the switches so we can see all these options and select the 3D box. So now we can animate the X, Y and Z axle. I think I want to animate the X rotation. So make a keyframe for the X rotation. Move forward a couple of seconds and put the value to 1. So now the text have spun one time basically. Let's see how it looks. Okay, that's way too fast, so separate the keyframes by quite a lot. And while we're at it, we can also select them and F9 to easy ease. That looks pretty good. So if we play it all back with the music and everything, we have something that looks like this. Okay, that looks really cool. So I want to duplicate some of the circle animations that we have done. So like example for these two and maybe the one in the beginning. And I'm just going to place them where this beat hit right here. Okay, so where the text comes up and it gives a little bit bump to it. So let's duplicate the first one, the big explosion. Control D to duplicate. Move it forward in time. You can press U on it so we can see the keyframes. And U on the text to see the keyframes so we can line it up. Okay, let's see. And I can also duplicate these two small circles that we made before. Press U so we can see the keyframes and just put them somewhere in the intro. So I'm quite happy with the intro. You could always duplicate more of the circle animations and put them wherever you want. So the last thing I want to do is to make a transition to the next scene in your video. So just select every layer and we want to make this a pre-composition as well. So just right click pre-compose. And to make that finishing like transition slide, go to our shape layer and just make a nice big rectangle that covers the whole image. We want to toggle switches so we can see the track matte option and make the pre-composition of the whole intro a track matte to the shape that we just did. So alpha matte to shape layer 1. Perfect. And about, let's see, after this spin finishes, a couple of seconds more, boom. Then we want to animate the shape, so just press the P for the position, make a keyframe for the position, move forward to about half a second later and select the X value and slide it to the left. Select both keyframes, F9 to easy ease, and let's head over to the graph editor. Make sure the speed graph is selected and we want to select the left point and drag it towards the middle. Let's see how it looks. So that's perfect. Because we made the whole composition at 10 seconds and if intro finishes about right here, we want to grab this point right here, not the top one, the bottom. So we select the work area and let's end it about right here, just after the keyframe. We also want to go into our composition and we want to fade out the song. Go to audio levels. Let's see, when does it end? About right here. Make keyframe for the audio level. Move forward in time. Put it to -50. Let's see how it sounds. Alright, so when you're happy with the intro, you added a couple of animations to it and all that, we want to export it, of course. And make sure, because we have some transparency going on, at the end as well in the beginning. Make sure this little box right here is selected to toggle the transparency, because otherwise it will come out as black, and we don't want that. We want it transparent. So toggle this. Perfect. So go to File, Export, and add to the render queue. For the render settings, click on this. And the quality to be best, resolution full. Yeah, just leave it as it is. Output module, click on that. The format could be AVI, but then the file will be very large, maybe like 3 or 4 gigabytes or even more. So I suggest using QuickTime, and the channels should be RGB plus alpha, otherwise it won't be transparent. Click OK, and use output to wherever you want on your PC. Then just click render and let it render out. Alright, so that will do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this far, and like I mentioned in the intro, if this video gets 1200 likes, I will release the template for this. So hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.